Hello, my name is Rob Garner. I'm a computer programming instructor, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to use authentication with an MVC application. So I'm going to start out with a new application. Or web application. I'm going to call it membership demo and place it on my desktop. And this will be, we're going to use the MVC template because it has the authentication built in. In fact, if you wanted to pick the type of authentication you wanted with your MVC application, you can click this authentication button. And you have different choices. We're going to use individual user accounts. So MVC and then add folders for MVC. And we get a default home page with this. And our membership functionality is actually, for the most part, already in here. And the default template will give you the ability to log in and create an account. So we're going to get that from the account. What we're going to learn how to do in this tutorial is how to use the membership in a page after we create and register an account. And most of this is coming in this manage controller. And you could build this from scratch, but it would be somewhat painful. So it tends to work better to use the default one from the template and then modify the login capabilities as needed. So we're going to need some controllers to work with as if this was a website that we had started building. So to do that, I'm just going to drag some existing ones in. And we'll bring in the menus controller that we were playing around with. Notice that we already get a number of models for the account and identity in this project. And with those in there, let's see what we get. We need to, once we drag the items into our directories, then we'll need to add existing items. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can just click on add and then existing item. Another way is there's a button up here that allows us to view all, show all files, and we'll just right click on them and include in project. We also need to wire in our data a little differently. This one used this thing called MenuDB. Let's take a look at our models. There's the account view model. It already uses a database, so we can probably just reuse that one. And it will be under application DB context. So let's see if we can find that. Here's our application DB context. So we'll just add them in right here. So now we're going to point to the application DB context to get our database. And we want to point to our menu management function in the layout for this program. So I'm going to go to the views and look in shared folders, which is where I expect the layout to exist. And if we run this application as is, we have this menu bar up here. We're going to put our menu management right here. So for that, we need to just find where this home about contact, and I'll just add another list item just like they do here. And we'll call this menu management. And we need to find its menus controller. So we'll have this go to the index method of the menus controller. And we can see there we have menu management. When we click on that, we can go and create menus. And it seems to be working. So normally you would create those pages from scratch, but we saw that in the previous video, and so here we're just bringing them in to show how you can wire in pages. It's kind of significant that it was fairly easy to bring a page from another project into this MVC project. So now the thing is, let's say that we wanted that page set up so that you could only maybe get access to certain functions based on your login credentials. And let's say we wanted the menu pages to only be accessible by users who are logged in. What we're going to do is go to our menus controller class and simply place in front of this whole class an authorized attribute. So if I go to the menu management page now, it'll bring me into the login page rather than bringing me directly to it. And so I have to log in. So I'm going to register. So now I successfully logged in. I go to menu management, and now I have access. Now, suppose that we wanted you to be authorized for everything, but we would allow anonymous for the index page. Well, we can place an allow anonymous attribute in front of index. And let's say that we would also allow anonymous in front of details. So you can see the list and you can look at the details view, but you can't edit anything if you're not logged in. So we go to menu management. And if I look at the details, let me log out because I'm logged in. So now I'm logged out. I go to menu management. I can see everything that I can go to the index page now, and I can view details. But if I try to create new, it brings me to the login page. And then now I can and so now we can add this additional pizza. So this works well, but if we're not logged in, then perhaps we want this behavior, and it's not bad to have these set up so that it brings you to the login page when you click on one of these options. But another mode you may want this to work in is one where if you're not logged in, it doesn't show you the commands that you don't have access to. And we can do that as well. Let's go to and we can do that best in the view. So let's go to the index view. And we have these action links, which are what provide us the ability to edit and delete. And so for this create new one, we're going to add some Razor code, i.e. some C# code, and we're just going to check to see if request is authenticated. Similarly, we'll go down to these action links here, and the edit and delete should only be available if you're logged in. So I'm going to change the order of these. I'm going to move the details one to the front, since that one should always be permitted. And then I'm going to add some Razor code for if request is validated or is authenticated. For these pipe, I'm going to wrap them in text blocks just to make sure they get rendered correctly. And we want one here and here. I'm going to get rid of that one there. And so that'll give me my separators, my action links, and the edit and deletes will only show up if you're authenticated. And so there we have details and edit. If I log out and go back to menu management, we see that I don't see the create new tag, and I only have the details. Of course, I have one here which I would have to remove, and do the same thing. But if I log in, then I get all of the additional functionality displayed. So using the template for creating your login details is fairly easy. The things that we use to enable authentication. At the controller level, we used the, let me open up the controller. At the controller level, we used the authorize tag and then the allow anonymous tag. You can use those either in front of the entire class or in front of an index. And then within the view, we used razor code, and we just used an if statement with the request.isAuthenticated property to allow access for things that required authentication. And so that concludes my presentation on how to add authentication to a .NET MVC website. Thank you.